Salvador recently made the news more frequently than ever.
Mega prison, mass deportation, gang violence.
Sounds like a messed up place that's being abandoned.
But is that all El Salvador has to offer? How about the food? Earlier this year, I visited Guatemala and heard great things about El Salvador, a country that is located in Central America. So one day I was researching and found out that Salvadorans are the fourth largest immigrant group in the US, but I still haven't tried their food yet.
The restaurant I'm going to, it's Max Salvador Fast Food. The name sounds like the place got both Salvadorian and Mexican food. Maybe because the owner of both Salvadorian and Mexican, or maybe because they add more Mexican food on the menu just to reach more customers. Who knows? But I'm gonna be there to try Salvadorian food, so very excited about that.
This is a self-order and checkout restaurant. They do have a good variety of pupusas. Pupusa is a thick handmade corn tortilla stuffed with fillings and is considered the national dish of El Salvador.
So I'm getting the revuelta, which is a combination of chicharron, red beans, and cheese. This is very traditional. It's very popular in El Salvador or even in the restaurant in general. I'm also getting ayote y queso, which is squash and cheese, because this is very traditional. And squash is native to Mesoamerica, and it actually has indigenous roots. I'm also getting loloco y queso, which is another one that's very special as well. Loloco is an edible flower that's native to Central America. It's very unique and very special because you don't get to try it outside of Central America. We are very lucky to have it here because loloco is exported to the US. It's a key ingredient in many traditional Salvadoran dishes. So demand from Salvadoran households and families here are very strong.
Other than pupusa, I'm getting Yuca frita y chicharron, which is also iconic and super popular in El Salvador. Yuca, or cassava, is a starchy root vegetable that is native to South America, but was introduced to Central America through indigenous trade and has been a staple in Salvadoran cuisine. For drinks, I'm gonna get horchata.
But I'm not really sure whether this is a Mexican horchata or a Salvadoran horchata. Do you serve Mexican horchata or a Salvadoran horchata? Así, okay, gracias. This is the horchata I got, and I'm very excited to try.
This place is actually very interesting. It's not a proper restaurant. It does have a sitting area, but that probably takes up only a quarter of the space. The rest looks more like a grocery store. So now we have our pupusa. It looks absolutely inviting.
And then we have 3 different pupusas. I don't know which one is which, but I'm gonna try it out. Oh, it's actually very hot. It's just fresh out of the griddle. They gave me this, but you know, traditionally pupusas were eaten by hand, so I want to honor the tradition. So I'm just gonna wait for a little bit until it cools down.
The roots of pupusa trace back to the Pupu people, an indigenous group of El Salvador. The word pupusa likely comes from their native language, meaning puff up. The earliest version of pupusa is made with corn dough and is vegan, filled with ingredients like loloco, beans, squash are all native to the region. Those fillings with cheese and pork that are popular today were introduced after the Spanish conquest. Something very special about pupusas is that you eat them with curtido, a fermented cabbage slaw, and dip them in a red salsa roja, which is made from tomato.
Let's try it.
I'm going to try revuelta. The filling is cheese, beans, and pork. You want to put a curtido on top and dip it in the salsa. It is super good. It is creamy, earthy, meaty, and savory. That's why you need something tangy and spicy like curtido to elevate, brighten, and highlight the taste.
I definitely prefer this one. The revuelta is really good.
The tortilla is warm and soft, so you need something crunchy to give you a kick and make the texture more fun. I've also tried squash pupusa. It is plainer compared to revuelta, but it has a natural sweetness and pairs well with the cheese. So I enjoyed it overall.
It's very good.
Okay, next I'm gonna try loloco with cheese. For loloco pupusa, the curtido and salsa are even more important as loloco doesn't have a strong flavor. I'm also going to try the green salsa and see how it tastes. It is pretty unique. When I tasted the local, I could taste a subtle floral and earthy flavor, but the filling has more cheese than the local, which I get it because vegetable doesn't have a strong flavor, but too much cheese will make it lose the character and feels more like a cheese pupusa than the local. My favorite definitely goes to the revuelta. Like the rest of Central America, El Salvador was colonized by the Spanish in the early 16th century and was reshaped politically, economically, and culturally. This dish, Yuca con chicharron, is an iconic Salvadoran dish that combines indigenous roots with colonial influence. Chicharron originates from Spain, referring to fried pork fat or skin, and was introduced to Latin America during colonial rule. But ingredients, taste, and cooking methods vary in different countries. Salvadoran chicharron is crispy fried pork chunks made from fatty cuts like pork belly or shoulder. They are super flavorful, juicy, and have that perfect crunch.
So this is crispy on the outside and soft and juicy on the inside. I really like it actually. It's very good. I thought it's gonna be like a pork skin, like a Mexican one, but it's not. They use different way of doing this, and it really blew my mind. Gracias, thank you. Thanks, gracias.
One other thing you shouldn't miss is quesadilla, a wonderful, beautiful, flavorful cheesecake. It is coffee's best friend, and it highlights at family gatherings.
Salvadoran quesadilla, which is very, very different from the Mexican quesadilla. Rice sesame on top, and ooh, looks like really spongy inside. Whoa, it's very soft.
Is not to be confused with the Mexican quesadilla, which is not a dessert. The quesadilla here is simply amazing. I didn't expect it to be this good. I thought it would be super sweet like most other Latin American desserts, but it is not.
This one is a real deal. It's really, really good.
It is rich and comforting. It is not sweet, but a little salty. It is slightly crispy on top, but soft inside and melt in your mouth, with a hint of nuttiness from the white sesame. It tastes amazing, and I really like it.
The food was amazing. I didn't expect it to be this good before trying it out, but it turns out great. To many Salvadorans, pupusa is not just a dish, but something to hold on to.
After the Spanish colonial end, El Salvador, like much of Central and South America, gained independence but faced deep inequality between a small elite who control most of the land and indigenous peasants who live in deep poverty. The deep inequality sparked an uprising that led to a brutal massacre targeting the indigenous.
Prompting many to abandon their traditional clothing, languages, cultures, or customs to avoid persecution. But things didn't stop there.
The event sowed the seeds of long-term social resentment and deepened the conflict between the left and the right, eventually leading to a long civil war between a US-backed government and a left-wing guerrilla supported by the indigenous poor. The war caused tremendous loss of life and triggered mass migration to the US, where pupusa became widespread.
The headlines about crimes, gangs, and migrations overshadow its deeper roots and real reasons behind it.
But through its food, like pupusa, offered a window into a vibrant culture, a side of El Salvador that often goes unseen. I'm glad I got to try the food and get a glimpse of the culture in the country.
If you like my video, don't forget to subscribe to my channel and stay tuned to the next one. I hope to see you there soon. Bye now.